outer glow that is commanding a firewall presence. Commanding a firewall presence. See, everybody wants to be noticed, like I said last week, in this noisy world. But is it all about just being noticed? We have to be noticed. Our presence in places have to be felt. However, our presence should also be felt with a certain level of boundary. That is what I'm communicating today in today's presentation. So I've segmented outer glow slide into two parts. First part talking mainly about the gentleman and what makes you a gentleman. And the second part, not so much in detail, talking about commanding the firewall presence. However, in this audio, I'm going to mix them together so that you get the import of outer glow. So, our uh, anchor scripture, of course, for this training, I've made it clear that I'm a Christian. And so whatever I talk about, we'll see that biblical aspect of it. So from the biblical point of view, outer glow, is it important? Do we even have to talk about how outwardly we look? Because God looks at the inside. So why should we be concerned or worried about the outside? Let's look at our anchor verse, First Samuel 16 and then verse 7. It says in the King James, "But the Lord said unto Samuel, Look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart." The Lord looks upon the earth. So as we all know, the Lord looks within, the Lord looks inside, and then he sees what is within. However, it's important that we take note of what is in this text of scripture. It says that for man seeth the outward. For man seeth the outward. It's very important that we take note of that portion of the scripture. We are men, and here on earth we are relating with other men. Okay, so even though God looks within the heart, so far as men consider the outward, it's important that our outward will attract men to us so that they may by chance see what is within also. Okay, so our outward appearance must attract people to us, and then subsequently, what is within will come out as we relate or interact with the people. I hope that we understand this. So, in this verse, we see Samuel having to anoint David as king. Samuel sees Jesse's two sons. He sees Jesse's sons, and then he notices that David is the youngest of the two. However, God wanted him to anoint David. God wanted him to anoint David and not the oldest. Okay, so it's very important that as Christians, or as Christians as we are, it shouldn't just be about our inward appearance. It shouldn't only be about our inward virtues. It shouldn't only be about who we are by reason of our position. Maybe you may be the oldest, you may be the leader in your organization or whatever. Your outer glow also matters, irrespective of the fact that you may be the head in your unit or your section or wherever you are, or you may be the eldest amongst your siblings. Someone may just come in to the family or into your space and would want to do another person some good or favor just because of what he or she has seen. So our outer glow is very, very important. It's very important. In the case of the Lord will always make way for you because of what he has seen in you or what he knows you can do or what you carry. But man, once man sees the outward, we always have to attract man with the outward. I hope we get this. And so that's the reason why there's so much on all of us and our systems in the world to always develop places that attract or develop things or systems that attract or is appealing to the eyes of people. When you go all around town and you see all the billboards, whatever is placed there is something that will attract you to further find out the details about what is there. If a billboard is there and it's not active, it's not attractive, you will not even consider reading what is there. Okay, so there's that importance for outer glow. So, and the outer glow, we're going to look at the gentleman. When we say a gentleman, who is a gentleman? Okay, what makes one a gentleman? That's what we are looking at today. So, being a gentleman is sure to impress anybody you are interested in, being it a potential or a prospective employer, being it a lady, being it friends, parents, or whatever. Being a gentleman is a sure way to impress anybody at all. Because everybody wants to relate with a gentleman. Everybody wants to relate with a gentleman. So it's also great to act as one and not just act. It's great to be one yourself. Don't just act as one, but be one. And anybody else might need to think you are great. Once you act out as a gentleman, in fact, anybody who meets you will know that you are a great person. So we'll look at gentlemen in the following areas. The first aspect that we'll be looking at today is the decent dressing. We'll look at gracious speech. We'll look at virtues. We'll look at cleanliness and good hygiene. We'll also look at relating with men, ladies, women, and then children. All right. So let's look at decent dressing. Clothing oneself, okay, it communicates a lot about your outer glow because that's the first thing that anybody at all sees. How you look, your dressing, your apparel. Okay. So clothing oneself appropriately for any occasion with a sense of professionalism, modesty, and respect really matters. Whenever you dress, these are three things that you should look out for. Is my dress professional enough for the occasion? When we say professional, if you are going to a formal location, you are going for an interview, you are going to the workplace, you need to be formal. Is your work professional for that place? Of course, you don't go to the hockey pitch wearing suits. You don't go to a casual meeting wearing a white shirt tagged in. So there's a place for casual dressing, there's a place for formal dressing. So as you have dressed, are you professional for the occasion? Of course, there are certain job opportunities or workplaces that requires casual dressing. And so are you professional for that? Are you modest in your dressing? And that your dressing show a sign of respect to even others, especially on the part of ladies. You may dress professionally, but is your dressing respecting other people in the space? So, in the same way as a gentleman, is your dressing respecting other people in the space you find yourself? And is it respecting you yourself? Are you being too dressed or overdressed that the whole attention is put up on you? That's also not respect to the others. Okay, so look at these three areas whenever you dress to step out. And these are some of the things that I want us to take note of. The first is you must invest in high quality leather shoes, leather belts for your wardrobe and for your dressing. Okay. You may get a few sneakers for casual outings as well as a sports wear. It's good that you keep fit. Occasionally, you must indulge yourself in physical activities. And then science or medical experts recommend that at least you go for a walk at least 3 times in a week. So you can try and then put that as part of your schedule. Make time for physical activities. Okay. And then it will also impart on your physical strength and then your outer glow as well. The more you keep active physically, you also shine outwardly. Choose socks. Choose socks that match your trousers or shoes. And I must emphasize on this because we are living in a generation where you find young men dressed in leather shoes and they are not wearing socks. And the sad thing is sometimes some of these shoes are not even open shoes, very close shoes, and then they are not in socks. When you do that, the shoes will smell very bad. Okay, because the shoes are enclosed. When you are in open shoes or open loafers, you can optionally decide. You can decide that you wouldn't put on socks because you have some airspace around your leg, some breathing space. But if you are in closed shoes, you must put on a socks, and it must be clean socks. It must be clean socks. I remember one of my lecturers said, my microbiology lecturers in undergraduate, he said something that he's looking out for someone to come out with a research where they will sample socks of tertiary students around and then culture the microbes in there, and he's imagining the things he will see. It sounded funny, but it's going to be serious. All right. So it's good you put on clean socks and make sure that your socks must match your trousers. Professionally, if you are in a black trouser, you must be in a black socks. If you are in a blue trouser, you can be in a blue socks, or if you don't have, you can still be in a black socks. Okay. If you are in a jeans, a pair of jeans, your socks should match your shoes. If it's a casual occasion, games or something, your jeans could match up with a white socks and some sneakers. All right. These are very fashionable ways of dressing as a young man. If you want to put on very fanciful colored socks, it should be in casual moment. It should be on casual wears and not on official wear. You cannot wear and put on an official white shirt or blue shirt with a pair of trousers and put on a pink colored socks. It's not a formal way of dressing. So your socks should match your trousers or your shoes. You must avoid too bright colored socks except for casual occasions, as I have said. Then you must choose trousers that are well fitting. Your trousers should not be too tight and it shouldn't be too loose. It should fit to the length. Sorry. And it shouldn't be so tight fitting. When I say tight fitting, I mean tight fitting in such that it's difficult for you to jump or cross over even a gutter or get down from a trolley or get down from your car or whatever. Shouldn't be so tight fitting. Okay. It's very uncomfortable as a man to cross over something and then you have your trousers opened up. It's very uncomfortable. Right? That happens when your trousers are so tight or tight fitting. All right. Avoid belts that are too flashy or have large buckles. You are not a wrestler. It's those who are wrestling or boxing that keep very large buckle belts as heavyweight champions and those things. Okay, when you dress, try and then keep a very simple and decent buckle as your belt, right? And as a gentleman, we'll look at that in the next slide. Must have at least a black belt and then a brown one to fit into the colors of your shoes, okay? And avoid unkept facial hair. Avoid unkept facial hair. Sometimes you may have the facial hair is so much that you look just like the brother of someone Bin Laden. So you should try and then trim it. Try and trim it and then keep it as decent as possible. Right. And learn to press your shirts. Learn to press your suits yourself and learn to press your trousers as well. Okay. Learn to press your shirts. You can apply some starch to your shirt. You can wash it with some starch. Apply some little starch. Make it look good and nice. And then let it smell also good. Okay. And then same as your suit, you should learn how to iron your suit yourself. Of course, you can um, take it out to the laundry from time to time, but you should also learn how to do it yourself in our part of the world. Okay, so you press the suit such that where the parts are, okay, your shoulder portions, you also pad it with some cloth. All right, you can just put some rag or napkin just under that part and then iron it on your hands. That's the way to iron suits. Iron those shouldered, padded shouldered regions. And then you iron out the other way, the other part of the suit, just like you're ironing the shirt. However, you take caution when you are ironing um, the inner linings because usually they are very light and they melt. Okay. And then you should also be cautious about the lines when you are ironing the sleeves, okay, should be such that the buttons are facing upward. Some of these things you can get YouTube videos to watch how you press your suit and all of that. You should know how to press your suit. You should learn how to press your own trousers. If you choose to um, bring out the lines in the trousers, do it very well. And your lines should not be double lines, triple lines. There are some people, the lines have changed into a folding. If you want to press out your shirts and your trousers for the lines to come out, press it out very well for the lines to come out. If you cannot keep one line throughout, try and avoid the lines. Of course, that fashion is gradually fading out. However, there are some occasions that it's good to put that back, especially when you're going to a very formal occasion where you're going to meet very elderly people who are still in that fashion of, I mean, putting on trousers that are lines. Do that and fit into that class of people. So then how to do all those things. It's funny, but these are some of the things we're beating over back in senior high school, especially in boys' schools. So you learn to do some of these things. You make sure your shirt, your white shirt, has one line. Make sure your trousers have the lines not nicely. Okay, so learn how to press your shirts, suits, and trousers. Then learn how to tie a tie. Everyone who has passed through senior high school, you've been taught how to tie a tie as a young man. You should know how to put on a tie. And there are so many styles. We have the British style, we have the American style. know the various styles you can put on when you are tying a tie. And there are some occasions when you are going to, based on the kind of people there, you can put on a tie that suits that setting. Okay. And there are videos on YouTube online where you can watch how to tie a tie. And you should know that if you are in a plain colored shirt, it should go with a designer tie. I don't know how much we should emphasize on this. These days, there are a lot of fashion going on, and then I mean, a lot of us learn blindly. We just learn anything. When you are in a plain shirt, for example, you're in a white shirt, you are in a blue shirt, I mean, wine shirt, that's plain. It doesn't have any design. It doesn't have any um, flowers in there. It doesn't have any dots. It doesn't have any stripes or whatever. You put on a designer tie. I mean, a tie that has patterns, a tie that has dots, a tie that has that design in there. All right. And then that's not the only way to go about it. But if you're in a plain colored shirt, you can put on a different colored tie that has no design. So, for example, if I'm in a white shirt, I can put on a red tie that has no design. It's acceptable. Okay. But if I'm in a white designed shirt, I cannot put on even a different colored tie that also has designs in there. The tie should be simple. It should just be a plain color to match the design in the shirt so that you don't look overly expressive. Then also your watch strap or the leather of your watch should match your belt color and then your shoes as well. If you are in a brown shoe, it must be in a brown belt, a brown leathered watch, or it can be gold or silver. But if you're in a leather watch, it should be brown ideally. And if you want to even put your outfit to another level, a top-notch level, can go ahead to put on or carry a brown briefcase or a brown clutch or a brown wallet. Okay, that puts you out there as a fashionable young man. So, what should a gentleman's wardrobe have? There are some must-haves that every gentleman should have in his wardrobe. Okay, and let me put this across. When we talk about decency, when we are saying decency, decent dressing, decent, be decent, be this, be that, all these things we are talking about, it costs. It costs. There's some cost to be paid. It's expensive to remain decent. We must understand that. However, the price that you pay for indecency costs a lot. And the rewards for decency, they are so fulfilling. Okay. You may not be liked by all, but of course, you are sure that everyone in your space will respect you because you are decent. Okay. I can use myself as an example in so many scenarios. I'm very young, where I work. I'm the youngest. Let me put it that way. But of course, I'm respected. Those who are on the call, those who are listening to this recording, at least a couple of you know, I'm respected. Um, Aside the favor aspect of God and all of that, there is a level of decency that I put out there, and it commands a certain level of respect. Not anyone at all can say anything to me. I hope you get it. So when you put yourself out there as a decent person, you may not be, I'm not liked by all. I mean, in my bigger space in University, I may not be liked by all. But of course, nobody disrespects me. You wouldn't have the opportunity to disrespect me. Okay. And it's all about how you carry yourself. Okay. So, what are some of the must haves that every gentleman should have in his or his wardrobe? The first thing is a suit. All of you registered for this course, some way, somehow. The list is in the final year in school. You should be able to gather some money, raise some money to get yourself a decent suit. Okay, a decent suit. I'm not saying it's compulsory you should go and buy a new suit. No, you can get a decent one in town. That may not be necessarily new, but it's new. I hope you get me. So get a good suit to wear. All right, you can buy a bit of use a bit, but just try and tailor it to suit you. Wash it nicely, treat it nicely, and then you are good to go. And you should have at least one of these colors in your wardrobe before you think of other colors. You should have a black suit or gray suit or blue black suit or coffee brown suit. These are very official colors, especially black or blue black. You should have one of these before you can think of the other colorful ones, the red, the royal blues, and the greens, and the rest. Okay, make sure you have a decent shoot, official one before you go out for the fancy ones you can take to weddings. Okay. Because if you have an interview that you have to be very formal, you cannot go and wear a green suit or a royal blue suit to such an interview unless it's for a particular kind of job that permits that. Okay. Then you should have some dress shirts. And when you are buying shirts too, choose colors that complement your skin tone. Okay, if you are dark, do not wear dark colored shirts or shirts that will put you out there as very dull or very dark. If you are very dark, do not be putting on browns, very dark greens. Because there are some colors that will just put you out there as very dull. All right. If you are dark or dark skin tone, put on colors that will lighten you up. So put on brightly colored uh, shirts that will complement your skin tone. Okay. If you are fair, try and tone down by putting on a bit of dark colored dresses. And even when you do that, it brings out your fair complexion. All right. When you see a fair person in a very black or dark colored shirt, you always see that that person's complexion is very conspicuous. Okay. So that's the way to go about it. Then dress trousers. You should have some trousers. And then also about the dress shirts. You should have at least a white shirt in your wardrobe. You should have at least some blue shirts. Some of these official colored shirts, you should have them. Okay. White shirt is a must. Sometimes I'm surprised when I go to events or we have to rehearse somewhere and then put on a white shirt for an occasion. And a gentleman will tell you, I don't have a white shirt in my wardrobe. It's a big no, 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 no. You must get a decent white shirt in your wardrobe. Then dress trousers. You should have decent trousers, not too tight fitting and not too loose. And before you can get other colored trousers, make sure you have at least one of these in your wardrobe. A black, a blue black, or gray. A black is a must have for everyone. Black trouser is a must have for everyone. Blue black, of course, is necessary. Okay. Then dress shoes. Before you can think of other shoes, other leather colored and other designer shoes, you should try and have one black shoe, one brown one. Okay, one black belt, one brown one. And then you dress to match whatever you wear. And there are a lot of templates online you can find. Okay, you don't put on a blue suit and then put on a black shoe. It's also acceptable blue and then black. But if you have a brown shoe, you rock the blue or blue black shoe with a brown shoe and a brown belt. Okay. Or you rock any shirt with a brown trouser. Sorry, with a blue black trouser with a brown shoe. Okay, for a very formal occasion. Then you should have some polo shirts or t-shirts for casual outings. You should have a good pair of trousers or jeans, sorry. You should have a set of underwears and handkerchiefs. Okay, you should have a set of underwear such that you you don't have to wear the same underwears in a row without washing, because a lot of heat is generated down there and beneath our skin, and that generates a lot of microbes and might not be helpful for you. All right, so you must have a good set of underwears and then also a good set of handkerchiefs. And since COVID times, I think a lot of people have moved to the use of tissues more than handkerchief. And it's more or less like these days, I have my handkerchief in my pocket and I hardly even use it. So it happens also that way. You should have some handkerchief in your pocket always, and then you should also have some pair of tissues in the world we find ourselves to be. Then ties, young man, you must have some flying ties in your wardrobe. So you should have some flying ties in your wardrobe. At least you should have a black one. You can have a red one or a shade of red, a shade of blue, something to match your suit. Okay, you should have a plain colored one and a designed one. Okay, so that when you wear a shirt, you know which one to match it with. Then also you should have a watch. You should have a watch. Okay, before you can think of having the other designer watches to try and have a black leather watch and a brown leather one, or a brown rubber watch, a black rubber watch. Okay, before you can think of having the very fancy watches. Then you should have in your wardrobe a good deodorant or antiperspirant and then perfume. Okay. After you have looked all this good, you ought to smell good. You ought to also smell good. Because when you smell good, people can stay with you and have lengthy conversations with you. But if you don't smell good, when people encounter you, they want to leave, they want to walk away so that they can have some good air to breathe. So you must smell good as well. Then we'll move on to the next thing, gracious words. And the verse we'll look at here is Colossians chapter 4, verse 6. It says that let your speech always be full of grace, seasoned with salt. This is one of my favorite texts of scriptures. It says, let your speech be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how to answer unto every man rightly. Okay, your words must be characterized with a level of politeness, a level of kindness, a level of respect and empathy to the people you speak to. Okay, do not speak demeaning words or degrading words to people. And know that the words that you utter are not recallable, unlike our social media now that you can send a text and recall or call back your words. It's unlike that in the physical world. You speak a word and that word stays forever. And so you should be cautious when you speak. Your words should always be gracious. How can you make your words gracious? First thing you should know is that you must mean the words you say, mean what you say, and see what you mean. See what you want to say in clear language. So mean what you are saying. All right. Don't go and tell a lady that you are my you uh, you are my world, you are my mean what you are saying. What are you talking about? I will give you the whole world. Do you have the whole world to yourself? So mean what you are saying and see what you mean. Okay. Avoid political talks and then debates, and learn to be neutral when it comes up, especially when you are conversing with new people, people you don't know very well. Okay, maybe you met a colleague at the workplace, you don't know the person's political ties, right? So you must be cautious about political discussions when it comes up in a vehicle. When people are talking MPP, NDC, just try and be neutral as a gentleman. Okay, raise up your points. I mean, for against the motion, but don't go overboard. But as much as possible, try and avoid them. Be neutral when such conversations come out. Look at the positive and negative, right? Try and buttress the points of both sides so that you stay neutral. Then avoid conversations that others may not be interested in. You meet someone for the first time, trying to get to know the person, you bring up a conversation and you realize the person is not interested in, just end it there or change the topic. All right. Be sincere and honest in your speech. Be sincere. Be truthful. Be truthful. Let your yes be yes and let your no be no. There are some of you that, of course, not on this platform, I guess, but there are some people that it's so difficult to believe it even when they're telling the truth because they are always been deceiving people so much so that when they even tell the truth, it's difficult to know if it's the truth they are saying. Okay, so be sincere and be honest in your speech. When somebody calls you, where are you? And you are now leaving the house. Don't say that I'm on my way. All right. Try as much as possible to be sincere, be honest in your speech. All right. Then avoid harsh words or words that destroy or degrade people. I've talked about that already. Then try not to talk too much about yourself. You meet someone for the first time and then you want the whole world to know who you are. You are this, you are that. You hold a PhD in this, you are a professor of this, you are this, you are that. I'm not trying to say do not pitch yourself, but don't put yourself all out in that one day. Leave room for people to search about you. Leave room for people to try and find out who is this person. Okay. So be a bit mysterious. Okay. Don't reveal everything about, like, all about what you do to the whole world. That's why I have an issue with people who post their whole life on social media. There are some people that from day 1 to day 365 of the year, whatever goes on in their life, the whole contact list, no. They know they went on swimming this day. They know they went to whatever uh, suicide this day. They know they went to the movies this day. They know they are lady. They know everything about you is out there. Be a bit mysterious. Let people find out a bit more about you. God created us in his image and in his likeness. And even God is mysterious. There are a bit of God that is hidden. You have to get closer, get to know him more and more. He reveals himself more and more to you. And you get humble as you get to know God more and more. So be a bit mysterious, Kakra. Don't put your whole life out there. Don't talk too much about yourself. Then use gracious words. Words like please, thank you. All right. Please, may I have this? Please, may I do this? Then thank you. Be polite. When somebody does something for you, appreciate it. I appreciate you. Okay, somebody gives you money, somebody dashes you money. Thank the person. The following day, send a text or thank the person. Oh, thank you so much for yesterday. It's nice. Okay, because when people give you things in the heat of the moment, that thank you that comes first is not registered in their memory. It's the second one that usually is registered. And that is something we all know because we all give things to people, and then you know how it feels when it's like somebody doesn't really appreciate what you gave them. Okay. So learn to say thank you. Learn to appreciate the effort of people. Someone helps you out with something, appreciate it. Okay. When you wrong someone, to learn to say sorry. Don't feel too big of yourself to say sorry. Say that I'm sorry. I'm sorry for doing this. And mean what you have said. Like we said in the first point. When you say that you are sorry, mean it. How do you mean that you are sorry? You mean that you are sorry when you don't repeat that same thing again. You are teasing someone with a name the person is not, that's not like. The person says, I hate to be called this name. Say that you are sorry and truly resist yourself from repeating that. Okay. Use gracious words like, how can I help? How can I help you out with this? Use gracious words like, you look great today. Okay, and mean it when you say it. Don't just say it because you are trying to catch the attention of the person to, you know, start up something. No, but mean it when somebody is looking good. Say it and mean it. All right, when someone is going through something and then you can relate with the situation. Say that I understand how you feel. I know it's not easy for you, but let's keep trusting God. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's keep praying. Let's keep our fingers crossed. It will get well. We'll get better. We live in a world where people are hopeless. People are always out there looking for hope. So be that light of hope. Be that beacon of hope to this world. Okay, don't add up to the depression in people's life. All right, when you speak to them and people are opening up about their issues, tell them, I understand how it feels. Okay, and try and then empathize with them. Use gracious words like, what do you think or what do you make of it, of this? Try and involve people in discussions by asking them what they make of certain situations. Okay, then let's look at virtues of a gentleman. When we say a gentleman, what are some of the virtues you must have? The first one is the reverential fear of God. Proverbs 22, verse 4 is also one of my favorite scriptures. It says that before humility and the fear of God is riches, wealth, and honor. I think I got the second one. Let me read that. Proverbs 22. Proverbs 22, verse 4. It says that by humility and the fear of the Lord are riches, honor, and life. If you want riches, if you want wealth, fear the Lord and be humble. If you want honor, you want people to respect you and honor you, fear the Lord and be humble. If you want to live long, fear the Lord and then also be humble. Humble yourself before the Lord and before your parents. Your days on earth will be long enough. Okay, so have the reverential fear of the Lord as a virtue, young man. Then also you must learn to respect. Learn to respect. Learn to respect as a young man, regardless of age, regardless of race, regardless of gender, social status. Respect people you meet. Do not get to know the person as Dr. This, Professor This before you respect the person. Please. When I started work, my service, there was one thing that my supervisor told me, Mr. Elom, I would not forget. He said that in this lab, you would meet a lot of people, a lot of students would troop in here. Some of them will come in as undergraduate students. Some of them may be postgraduate students. Some of them may be PhD researchers, postdoc, whatever. External people may come in. Irrespective of who comes in here to do any analysis or to do anything, treat them equally. Do not treat the PhD student as more important than the undergraduate. Do not treat the PhD researcher as more important than the master students. Treat all of them equally. I know this is a difficult thing to do because there's an inner bias in everyone. However, be conscious of that you want to treat everybody fairly. You should not shun someone because I saw this one, it's an undergraduate. After all, what is this work going to go? Where is this work going to go? But encourage the person just the same way as you would do with a postgraduate student. Okay, so treat people regardless of their age, race, gender, social status. You don't say this is a lady, ladies are we, ladies are this, ladies are. Treat them with respect. Okay, and then honesty. I think I've talked about that already in the speech. Let your yes be yes and let your no be no. Matthew 5:37. And then move on to the next one, that is humility. Right? James chapter 4, verse 6 and 7. He says that God resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. So he gives grace. He gives the humble the ability to do well. Please learn to be humble. Be determined, especially extroverts, like we learned last week, to be humble, because that's one thing that you may look down on. Because extroverts normally see humility as weakness. We talked about this last week. Pride always comes before a fall. Before anybody will fall, before Lucifer and the host of angels he came down with fell, it started with pride. Started with what? Pride. Before you fall from that altitude, it is pride that will cause you to fall. All right. Then responsibility. As a young man, you must be responsible for your actions, inactions, and then also be accountable for your mistakes. We may make mistakes in the course of our working life, but we must be accountable for our mistakes. Genesis 3, verse 12. We know the account of Genesis 3 when the devil in the form of the serpent came to tempt mankind through the woman who allowed herself to be used. And then later on, the man also fall into that same form of sin. And then God comes and then asks. Then the man shifts the blame to the woman and to the serpent, and it went on and on. Okay, we must learn to be responsible. We must take, we must make ourselves accountable for our own actions. Okay, when we make mistakes, we must put ourselves in place where we'll be accountable for the mistakes that we made. That is responsibility. Then courage. We must be bold and courageous. Joshua 1:8. The Lord instructed them to be bold and then courageous. All right. Then compassion. Compassion. You must have compassion for the weaker ones, the depressed, the hungry. Be willing to offer help in any way that you can. Matthew 15, verse 32. Jesus saw the crowd. There were so many, and there had people who had followed him for long, and he had compassion on them. He said these people had followed him for long and they had not eaten. And so he fed them, right? Have compassion, be willing to heal. Self-discipline and self-control is another virtue you must have. Matthew 5:27-28 talks even about thought control, that when you look upon a lady lustfully, all right, so that is thought control, sight control. As for this world we are in now, young men, let me tell you, you would see what you are not supposed to see. You see the unseeables. I remember back in senior high school, I was in a boys' school. It was some way. Whenever I came home for vacation, I was just like an eyesore. Like you go out of town and, and the kind of dresses you are seeing, everybody exposing here and there. It was just so much. Okay. Uh, it's looked a bit strange to me and to a lot of people who came from boys' school setting. You come out of school every vacation and then it's like you see naked people walking around on the streets. Well, that was the feeling for me. But that's the world we are in now. We must learn to embrace it. You must cautiously decide that you want to control your sight, you want to control your thoughts. You will definitely see, but don't look. Your eyes will see the beauty of the Lord. Your eyes will see the beauty of nature. Your eyes will see what Mama gave them. But control the eyes, not to look upon them and not to look within. Let me end it there. Then control your thoughts. Control your thoughts. Don't be thinking so much that you end up thinking lastly about some of the things you see. Right? The world's attack on men is so grave. Every advert you see out there portrays something about women. There must be a bit of a part of them being exposed just to attract you to read, just to attract you to see. That's why we love seeing, and then the world is capitalizing on that. But control that side of yours. Usually, it doesn't lead you into temptation, and be disciplined yourself. All right, that you not give you room for some of these things. Then gratitude, we have already said that. Learn to appreciate people, learn to say thank you. Let it be a an attitude. Let it be a part of you. All right. Luke chapter 17:17. It talks about the 10 lepers that were healed by the Lord Jesus. He said, were there not 10 that were healed? Were there not 10? Even the Lord Jesus is interested in gratitude. So please learn to be grateful to people. All right. Then good hygiene. Good hygiene, cleanliness, good hygiene and good cleanliness. Please, wherever you find yourself or whatever space you find yourself, learn to keep that place clean. Learn to keep that place clean. This is a challenge for many young men, many young men, and relating with young men from senior high school through to tertiary. I don't know, but I must be sincere with you guys. Speaking to ladies is something that puts them off, especially when it comes to men of God. I mean, on campus, you see them shape outside, but inside, basa. They don't keep their rooms clean. They don't keep their rooms well because they've been trained to be so lazy about keeping the place clean because there will always be some mama or some sister somewhere who come and do it for them. Please learn to keep your space clean. Learn to keep your cars clean if you drive. Don't litter your cars with papers, with a lot. No, keep it clean. All right. And when you have a clean environment like that, it even gives you a, a, a good place to think. Right? You have a clear atmosphere to think, to reason, to communicate with God, to commune with God. God is a God of order. God is not a God of haphazardness. Okay, he everything he did was in order. And I'm sure if we had seen the Garden of Eden, it would have been one of the best places of the world, right? And we are even talked of how heaven is like. So God is a God of cleanness and good hygiene. No wonder people say that cleanliness is next to godliness. All right. So You want to give room for the Spirit of God to move mightily in your midst, or in your space. Keep that place clean. All the cobwebs and the things, you all know, these are the things that it communicates a lot of negativity, communicates a lot of evil works, evil things, evil networks. People say it's there are even signs of how do you call it, monitoring spirits and all of that. I do not want to place my faith in some of these things. However, if it does exist, of course, because it's death and its uncleanliness, it can give room for uh, evil, right? But when you create a clean atmosphere, a clean workspace, you can be sure that the Spirit of God will move mightily in your midst. Amen. So shower or bath daily, at least twice a day. Use deodorant, use perfume, right? Just to keep off the sweat, something that can keep you throughout the day. And it shouldn't be also too strong that it will make people uncomfortable. Remember that we have talked about modesty when it comes to outer glow. Modesty. So be modest in the application of your deodorants and then perfumes. Brush and floss your teeth. Keep your teeth clean. Groom your hair and trim your facial hair. Talked about it also. Cut your nails. When your nails are long, cut them. Use good skin care products. A lot of young men do not even have time to smear pomade on their skin. Always their skin are dry. They are always on the go. They don't have the time for their skin. Please use good skincare products. Smear some pomade on your skin. When scripture says it, when you fast, don't look like so apply some ointment, apply some oil. Okay, so apply something on yourself, and then it keeps you uh, a bit shielded from the UV radiations of the sun, especially in our part of the world. And then also keeps your skin a bit moist to prevent cracks. To try and then keep your skin well. It's the only skin God gives you. So treat it well. And then doesn't mean you should also use products that will bleach you. No. Use products that will help your complexion or your skin tone. Right. Wear clean clothes, wear clean trousers, wear clean socks. Wash them, dry them, and clean them from time to time. Dry your shoes in the sun from time to time. One Saturday that you are home, one weekend that you are home, clean them. Clean all the shoes on your shoe rack. Dry all of them in the sun. Okay, from time to time. Dry your suits in the sun. When you have worn the suit one, when you go home, dry it before you hang it in your wardrobe. All right. Of course, we don't wash suits every now and then after wearing them, but at least dry them so that they look fresh and clean always. Then your relationship with others. Your relationship with others. First Timothy chapter 5, verse 2. This is a text of scripture you must know as a young man. This is Paul speaking to Timothy. He says that treat the older women as mothers. Treat the older women as mothers. And I will urge you all also listening to me. Treat all the older women you see in your space, treat them as mothers, the way you treat your mother. Now, of course, if you are not treating your mother well, you should treat your mother well. You have just one mother and you would have just one mother. Treat, treat her well. Treat your dad well as well. Okay. So treat older women as mothers and treat younger women as sisters in all purity or with all purity. This is Paul speaking to Timothy. Right? Treat the younger sisters with purity, young men. When you have younger people coming into your space that you work with, and this is something that I know that all of you on this platform you would encounter in your working life. You get on a team where maybe you are the team leader and you have younger ladies serving on the team with you. Treat them as sisters in all purity. See, this is something that can help you to create a firewall or a boundary around you. When you engage in loose talk with ladies you are on a team with, especially the younger ones, they will not respect you. And even more, when you start to engage in talks about relationships, talks about uh, flirty talks with them, you lose respect. And even when you go to the extent of certain gestures, touching them anyhow, or even going on to touch them as in sex, they will never respect you again because they'll begin to treat you anyhow, right? So treat sisters, treat young women as sisters in all purity. You have a young lady serving under you, don't put pressure on the lady. Allow the lady to work freely. You don't go and propose to her, even if you are interested. Don't let a person feel uncomfortable working with you. But it's not even advisable if the person is the same team with you and then you are the leader. Or it may lead to conflicts, right? So try and then avoid that as much as possible. Try and treat all ladies in your space as young women in all purity. Stand, smile, see the eyes, shake the hands, say hello whenever you are meeting anyone for the first time. When somebody is introducing another to you, don't sit and greet or don't sit and say hello. Stand, smile, see the eyes of the person, shake hands and say hello. All right. And as a young man, you must learn to shake hands. You must practice it. You don't greet a fellow young one sitting down. You see a young man, when you are greeting him, you stand and you shake hands. You must shake him to the core. That makes him feel that he's greeting a man. Don't wait for a lady to accept a seat before you get up. If you are offering help to a lady, you always stand and offer the seat. Don't sit and then say, oh, you can use this seat or let me get another one. No, stand and offer the seat. Okay. Then when working with a lady, the reason why you must do that is, you see, please think also about what people think of them or what people will see of them. So if a lady uh, finds out that you are offering him or her, offering her a seat and you are sitting down and she accepts and you have to get up and sit, it looks more like she forced you to get up and they are concerned about what people will think of it. So you stand and then you make that gesture of speaking to offer the seat and then she will gladly accept. Then don't wait for a lady to accept. Sorry, when walking with a lady or a child across the street, hold their hands. Hold their hands. It makes them feel protected. It makes them feel secured. And always walk them inwards. So if you are walking on the edge of the road, you should be outward facing the car and let them walk inward. It makes them feel secured. And that's the right way to walk with a lady as a gentleman and also as a young man. All right. Then you must lead by example in all your space. If you want to correct someone, lead by example, do the right thing and let them also follow. Okay. There are other gestures, other things that you must learn as a young man. I know that at least these basic ones help. Okay. Your eating habits, chewing gum, must be decent and polite in all of that. And then also, when a lady offers you a mint or a gum, you don't reject it. Some of these bit of bits you can learn them online, but these are basic things that what we share here are basic things that you should know as a gentleman. Then commanding a firewall presence. Commanding a firewall presence. When you say commanding a firewall presence, what comes to mind? We want to talk about boundaries. Of course, I have talked about one. One of them is treating ladies in all purity. Okay. Then the other aspect has to do with people coming into your space. Another boundary you pay for yourself. When you dress decently, people cannot speak to you anyhow. You command a level of respect. Then when you don't involve yourself in loose talks to people will not have the opportunity to talk trash to you. Okay. So what are some of the things we have to know? First, you must identify your status and your needs. What is your status? You are in a team, you are the team leader, and you joke and you play around with all the team members as if you are the lowest in the team. You must identify your status and know the limit of your play with them. At the same time, you must know your needs. How do you know your needs? You must know that you need the people in the team. So occasionally, you must break the ice. You must break what is preventing them from getting close and getting to know you. So that is you knowing that you need them. You must know how to also relate in that aspect. Okay. You must not always be green light. Now, sometimes you must put on the red. Sometimes you must put on the yellow. I hope you understand that. Then set boundaries, communicate them, and be consistent with them. Set your boundaries, communicate them, and be consistent with them. All right. Let people know what you don't accept into your space. Let them know it. It's just like the value system. So communicate them and be consistent with them. Okay. If people know you don't accept worldly music to your space, of course, you cannot play worldly music anywhere and force you to stand to dance to it because they know you won't do that. All right. And then don't involve yourself so much in loose talks or gestures. All right. All right. Loose talks. I've talked about that. You're in a team with a lady. Don't go personal with the lady. Don't be asking so many personal questions about her. It gives her an impression that you want to be involved in her life in a way. And sometimes it creates that impression that you are private. It's your private space, your private space, so you shouldn't delve into that. If they open up about it and then you have some questions and you question them and then they want to talk about it, fine. But if they are not interested, you don't go there. And you must make that conscious effort not to involve yourself even in such talks with ladies. Then avoid certain gestures. Okay, do not be touching ladies anyhow. Ladies uh, move by touch, just like we do by sight. So do not be touching them anyhow. There are some young men, they see beautiful ladies in beautiful hairstyles and you want to touch their hair, no matter how close you are with them, except they are your beloved. Even that one, it must be done cautiously. Do not be touching ladies' hair. Do not be touching ladies' hair anyhow. Do not be touching them anyhow. Some people play certain playful gestures on ladies, hug them anyhow. No, just be cautious about some of these things, and you will be able to command a certain level of respect for yourself. Then learn to say no. Okay, certain offers may come your way. Just tell the person, I appreciate the offer, but I'm unable to accept it now. I cannot commit to it right now. it might be a good offer. You need to say politely that no, you can't do it. Okay, thank you for thinking of me, but I'm already fully committed at the moment. Okay, I've had a number of opportunities I have had to turn down. Okay, but people see that you are good and they want to push a lot of things to you. We'll see that in the last slide, and then okay, I think I'll talk about that. So, what about people who don't respect your boundaries? We are talking about creating or commanding a firewall presence. But what about people? And of course, there are people who do not care about whatever boundary you call yourself. You see that you have set for yourself. You must first accept that you cannot control another person's behavior. And so because of that, you must detach yourself. And then if it's a conversation, don't participate. I'm trying then avoid it. All right. Don't participate in unproductive conversations. For example, you're a young man, a lady texts you, I'm interested in you, I like you. Can we have some time out? Sometimes just see that message and act like you have not seen it. I have had a couple of such messages. See it and then ignore them. To the ladies, some came in with genuine intentions, but it's just out of a feeling. And if you capitalize on that, you just take advantage of them. But then, if you are polite with them, you help them out, they now come to even respect you more and more because you know that this guy is, I mean, it's not just like any other guy. They now come to respect you more and more. And I can give you a number of examples. Okay, there are some ladies I've related to that just based on how good I was to them, helping them grow and all of that in the Lord, they somehow develop something for you. Okay. And sometimes that's something they develop from you is good. I must talk about this positive aspect. It's good because ladies naturally are indecisive. They are not so committed to things like that. So when there's some level of attraction, it keeps them always coming. It keeps them always getting close. It keeps them always wanting to know more. And that's how come you can groom them to become better versions of themselves. So if you take advantage of that closeness, you now then lose that respect that they had for you and that was accruing for you, whatever you represented in their lives. Okay. So you might be a father figure to a lady. As much as you relate to them, the interest will generate. It should be there somehow to keep them close to you and not for you to take advantage of that. So please, when such things come up, know how to go about it. All right. Sometimes you may come in a text, ignore the text. If it comes out verbally, laugh over it, change the topic, talk about something else. That is not the moment to school the person on why it is not right. Ignore it for that first count. Then subsequently find an occasion or a moment to explain how the person should conduct himself, herself, especially if the person is a mentee or someone you are training. Okay. Then decline invitations that involve spending time with such people. Okay, people who do not respect your boundaries. You know you are going to a place, the kind of songs they are going to play there, you are not interested. Just decline such invitations. Find an excuse. Okay. Then don't react to their disrespectful behavior, else you also be disrespected. They disrespect you, ignore. Then just walk away. If it's on the phone, hang up the phone politely. You can tell them my hands are tight now. I have to attend to something else. I'm running down on my battery. I have to save my battery for an emergency meeting I'm having. I got to go. I have to do this, that, and then avoid such people in their conversation. So, what is the cycle when we don't set boundaries? First of all, we must know that before we set boundaries, we must know what are the things that are important to us. What is the most important thing that we are responsible for? Because if you don't do what you are responsible for, you'll be questioned. You will now become accountable for the mistake that occurred as a result of your irresponsibility. So if you don't take responsibility for your actions, you will now be accountable for the mistakes that came out as a result of your irresponsibility. So what is the most likely way to get away, to get in the way, or what is the most likely thing to get in the way of you doing your best work or what you are responsible to do? You must ask yourself that question. And once you know that, you set the boundary. If it's the phone, you set the boundary for that. If it's social media, you set the boundary for that. All right. And now there are apps that can even control the number of hours you spend on Facebook and all of that. So you can employ the use of such tools so that you set the boundaries and you get whatever you have to done in the stipulated time. Okay. So what's the cycle when you allow people to disrespect your boundaries, especially when you don't communicate it well and you don't avoid them? The people who infringe on your rights or they will infringe on what you know is right for you to do, and you would have to sacrifice your needs for them. You have to sacrifice what you are responsible to do theirs or to do what pleases them. And then now the expectations increases. They will expect more and more from you because they know anytime they call on you, you are available. So the expectation increase and they infringe on your rights again. And then you sacrifice again, the expectation increases and it keeps increasing and increasing to the point where when you say no, it becomes a total disappointment and it cuts you off or it breaks your relation. So always when you start interacting with people, when you start working with people, let the people know what you value. Let the people know. Maybe you go to church, you don't joke with your church. By Wednesday, this time I have to be in church. By Friday, this time I have to be in church. By this time. So you put out those things clearly out to people. And once they know, they also try their best to fit in. And when they are going above that, you just draw their attentions back to that. Occasionally, you may allow yourself or you may sacrifice your needs to help, especially depending on the degree of the thing or the help you have to offer or the degree of the expectation, especially what you would want in return sometimes. All right. But then be mindful of this triangle or this circle. If you allow people to infringe on your rights, you always have to sacrifice your needs, and the expectations or what they expect of you will keep increasing more and more, and they will keep infringing on your rights more and more, and you keep sacrificing more and more, and the cycle keeps going on and on. So thank you for your time today. I hope that you have learned something that will help you glow or shine out wherever you find yourself. And then as men see the outward appearance, when they see you, they will see that this is indeed a young man. And whatever good that is due you, they will do it unto you. In the same way, when men relate with you, they will know what you stand for, what you like, what you allow into your space, and what you do not allow. Thank you very much. We've come to the end of module 1